What's up YouTube, it's Andy here at ElectricGeek. This week I've got another movie review coming up for you, Top Gun on 4K Blu-ray. So thanks for hitting up the channel guys. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. If you're returning, thanks for coming back. If you're into 4K Blu-ray, steelbook unboxing, home cinema and gaming, then please consider hitting that subscribe button. It takes 2 secs and I'd really appreciate the support, as I'll be dropping weekly videos on all those things, so please don't miss out. I'm going to do a quick unbox, go over some tech specs, and then ultimately I'll give you my thoughts on the video and audio quality and whether or not I think it's worth your while picking this up. Okay, so before we unbox, just a quick shout out to my man Graham Warnock, who hit up the chat requesting this Top Gun 4K Blu-ray review. Graham's a very good friend of mine, so let's see if this disc is worth your time, Graham. Top Gun has a slipcase, as you can see on the back. Tech specs wise, you've got the 4K disc and the Blu-ray film, obviously. Both the Blu-ray and the 4K version come with Dolby Atmos upgrade to the soundtrack, so that's good. You can see there, if I hold it up to the camera, mastered in Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos audio. Decent special features, a feature in 4K, which is always nice, and some new ones on the disc, and then plenty on the Blu-ray itself to go through. Okay, taking the slipcase off, same artwork underneath, no change there at all. Let's get this open. And opening up, you can see you've got the Blu-ray on the right and the 4K on the left, and at least there's something to differentiate, slightly different designs, albeit a little bit unoriginal, but there you have it. Okay, so movie-wise, what can I say about Top Gun that hasn't been said already? It's an absolute modern classic, and for me, it's the most defining film of the 80s. It oozes cool and has some of the most memorable Hollywood characters of all time. Maverick, Goose, Iceman, and the film is just the most quotable movie that I can think of. Throw on top of that an absolutely banging soundtrack with hits from the likes of Kenny Loggins with Danger Zone, Berlin with Take My Breath Away, and what you're left with is a film that everyone can't help but enjoy. I guess ultimately what I'm going to try and find out though is, does this 4K disc do the film and the fans justice? Let's find out. The movie was shot in 35mm and has been rescanned to produce a full-fat 4K negative DI for the disc, and HDR wide colour gamut comes in the form of Dolby Vision. I think the movie is super detailed and this is showcased best during all the close-ups and cockpit scenes in the movie. That being said, it's not one for grain haters, as all the original film grain has been preserved. I personally think though that the film wouldn't look right without the film grain, as it adds to the smoky stylistic aesthetic of the whole film. The film has an overall muted colour palette, which leans heavily on the sepia tones and has an overall kind of burnt look. So manage your expectations with regards to HDR impact, because it's not an absolute showstopper on that front. There isn't a huge amount of specular highlight. However, that being said, it does, in tandem with the 4K resolution, create a much more nuanced and natural image with regards to skin tone. It gives better contrast as well. The black levels are better than that of the 1080p standard Blu-ray. And what splashes of colour there are in the film definitely get a little bit of boost in intensity. A good example of the colour vibrancy on the 4K disc is in all the flight patches on the pilots' suits. They just seem to stand out more and have a bit more punch. My only issue is that the image can be a little bit inconsistent from scene to scene. With the close-ups, as I've already mentioned, they can be superbly detailed and look like they were filmed yesterday. However, some of the exterior shots and some interior shots as well look a little bit lost to the grain. But to be fair, I don't really think this is anything to do with the remastering process itself. It's probably more the original 35mm negative source, because at the end of the day, it is over 35 years old now, so I can imagine that'd be quite difficult to get that consistency. It's not going to be the same quality all the way through. Moving on to audio, although the aerial photography has never looked so good, what you should really be coming here for is the upgrade in audio to Dolby Atmos. Want to know what it feels like to go Mach 2 with your hair on fire? Now you can. The dogfighting scenes are so loud and intense, and with the directionality of the added height channels, you really do get a sense of the jets passing straight over your head every time there's some kind of flyover, which just makes the whole thing so much more immersive. Even though those scenes are super loud, what I'm glad to report is that the dialogue never gets lost. So when you're transitioning from those loud action sequences like the flying ones to the quieter dialogue scenes, you don't have to be fiddling about with your volume trying to compensate. The dialogue's always clear, even if you have it at one consistent listening volume all the way through. Hearing the classic soundtrack remastered in Dolby Atmos is definitely a thrill, and I can say that I did have goosebumps on that build up during the opening credits to the first blast of Danger Zone. So if you have a decent home cinema setup or soundbar, I just can't see you being disappointed with the Dolby Atmos on this disc. In summary, I think this is a great 4K transfer and it's worthy of being in any movie fan's collection. Visuals are the best that they've ever looked, and I would say 80% of the time they are reference for an older film. HDR doesn't make the film pop, but subtly along with the 4K resolution, it does make the overall image more nuanced and more pleasing on the eye over the 1080p Blu-ray. The audio is simply awesome and is a big update over the previous non-Atmos soundtracks. So I'm going to give Top Gun on 4K 4.5 out of 5. It only comes short of full marks because visually it's just not quite reference for me, but it is still a great transfer. If you're a Top Gun fan and you don't already own it, then I definitely think the 4K disc is a safe way to go. However, that being said, if you're trying to watch the pennies and you're really wanting to hear that Dolby Atmos soundtrack, but you're not too bothered about the 4K and HDR update, then I will say that the actual Blu-ray remaster this time around is excellent. So that might be an option for some people if cost is an issue. You can pick up Top Gun on 4K for $19.99 at HMV, that's where I got my copy, and it is currently in the 2 4K for 30 deal, so you may be able to get even better value if you pick something else that you've been eyeing up as well. I'll leave a link in the comments in the description just for ease of use should you decide to buy it from HMV. So that's all I have for today, folks. I really hope you enjoyed the video. If you liked it, give it a wee like and don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram where you can catch up with me behind the scenes. Thanks again for watching, folks, and I'll see you in the next video.